Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
It is the facility's responsibility to protect the health and well-being of the residents.
Minnesota's health department is offering a stunning rebuke to a Moorhead nursing home, saying it's disappointed in the facility. The agency's response comes after our story this week, where the nursing home blamed Minnesota for its high COVID-19 death count. As Valley News Team's Joshua Pagero explains, health officials say they bent over backwards for the facility.
COVID-19 has devastated long-term care facilities across the country. This is especially true in Minnesota, where state data shows the vast majority of deaths have happened at those places.
Initially, we did not have the testing capacity at the state level to do that type of testing.
On Friday, the Minnesota Department of Health defended itself from accusations by Eventide Senior Living that it's to blame for the 15 deaths at the Moorhead nursing home.
To say that, the state wasn't helpful to them is perhaps not accurate.
The Minnesota Department of Health tells me it's very disappointed with Eventide, saying that they bent over backwards for the facility. They had State Patrol drop off swabs, and they even had items flown in by helicopter. On Tuesday, Eventide said Minnesota's testing response lagged in comparison to North Dakota, causing many of its Moorhead residents to die.
They waited until they could get it for free and until it was coordinated by the state. And I think it's important to keep in mind that when we did work with them on testing, that we went to great lengths.
The department says the level of state support Eventide requested was not sustainable.
And we are here to provide assistance as needed, but ultimately to hold the facilities responsible.
An inspection done in early April at Eventide on 8th found it was not in full compliance with the new federal regulations. Residents were not social distancing, and they were still eating at dining halls. Both issues were later corrected.
They have that responsibility to protect their residents, knowing that we have been out to the facility and found that they were not practicing infection control properly.
Health officials add Eventide could have arranged testing on its own as opposed to waiting for the state. In Moorhead, Joshua Pagero, Valley News Live.
Eventide did not make anyone available to speak on camera for this story, but in a statement, they say they had a unique experience with its North Dakota facilities, where the state did early testing, with all of its North Dakota residents being negative for COVID-19. They add that it was frustrating not getting tests sooner for its Minnesota facilities. Hard to knock today's weather. The breeze helped cool you off if you were busy outside. Let's find out what tonight has in store for us. And Hutch is here with your Friday night weather planner. Hutch?
Oh, beautiful evening in store. We don't have much showing up at all on the area radar. Temperatures are coolest in northern Minnesota, where we started the day out mighty chilly in the low 40s. 64 in Baudette, 63 Roseau. It's 73 in Jamestown and Fargo. We have low 70s as well in Lakes Country this evening. Fargo's planner, temperatures at the 70s through sunset, then we'll cool into the 60s. The wind light, almost perfect. Sunset, 9:22. In Grand Forks, it'll be a little cooler. We'll be in the 60s for most of the evening, 9:28, the time of your sunset. Now, we have warmer weather coming up for the weekend, but not perfect the entire weekend. We'll have the hitches and the giddy up coming up here in just a few minutes. Mike?
All right, thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
Police now say there never was a robbery at Jimmy John's in West Fargo earlier this week, calling it a false report. Investigators confirmed that there was no weapon, which the person who called the robbery in said. 29-year-old Cameron Starr of Fargo has been arrested for conspiracy to commit theft and is expected to be formally charged next week. While an arrest was made in this incident, West Fargo investigators say robberies and burglaries are some of the toughest cases to solve, even with the help of cameras.
Getting a decent camera is number one, but your camera placement, if you have really good cameras and you don't have good camera placement, you're losing out.
Warren adds, in order to serve your home or business justice, you should have 3 or 4 cameras. And it's a good idea, he says, to talk with police about the best places to put them. Police say charges are pending on the person who reported the false robbery. A 46-year-old man is in jail tonight, accused of stabbing a woman when she tried to break up a fight. Fargo police say the woman was stabbed when she got in between 2 men fighting. It happened in the 700 block of 23rd Street South around midnight. Officials say Kelvin Antoine was arrested for aggravated assault and taken to the Cass County Jail. The woman was taken to a local hospital. No word on her condition. Richland County authorities are asking for your help in locating a brand new Polaris ATV in a trailer that was stolen from a service shop in Hankinson. The sheriff says that a 2020 Polaris RZR Pro and a Triton trailer were taken from the highway service shop yesterday. The ATV is black and lime green. If you have any information on the theft, please call authorities. 6 people are recovering after a crash near Bemidji, Minnesota. County authorities in Beltrami say that it happened just northwest of Bemidji. Investigators learned that 21-year-old Brooklyn Jansen of Bemidji crossed the median and crashed into a car being driven by a 32-year-old also from Bemidji. Everyone involved in the crash was hurt, including the 5 passengers in Carlson's vehicle. Authorities say both drivers showed signs of impairment. The Grand Forks Fraternal Order of Police is selling commemorative challenge coins in honor of fallen Grand Forks police officer Cody Holt. He was killed in the line of duty last month while responding to a shootout at an apartment complex. Officials say the funds raised from the coins will help send Cody's wife and young son to Washington, D.C. in May of next year for National Police Week.
It's going to be breathtaking for them and hopefully healing and help them feel the national embrace and respect and honor given to those officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Each coin will cost $15. To order one, you can find a link on our VNL News app. Just click on this story. In North Dakota, another 36 new positive cases of coronavirus were reported. There are now 369 active cases in the state. No new deaths were reported today. The death toll linked to the virus remains at 74. Minnesota is reporting another 25 deaths linked to COVID-19 in the state, including 5 Clay County residents. This brings the death toll across the state to 1,274. Another 490 new positive cases were reported today. The active case count in the state stands at 3,493. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is extending the state's peacetime emergency until July 13th. In his order, the governor says if the peacetime emergency ends, it would jeopardize over $50 million in federal funding each month. We'll have more on this story tonight on Valley News Live 10 at 10. Minnesota lawmakers are back for a special legislative session debating big changes that could come for police departments statewide. Ideas both the House and the Senate will discuss include banning police chokeholds, redefining when officers can use force, and how officers will be prosecuted if force is used excessively, among others. Minnesota's Senate Majority Leader has warned against moving too quickly and wants to address the peacetime emergency powers that Governor Walz has just extended.
And I think about when this all began 90 days ago. We were trying to figure out what to do with COVID-19, and we granted those emergency powers. As all 49 or 50 states total granted their governors the emergency power. But I never dreamed that we would have the longest peacetime emergency powers in Minnesota history.
That special session is expected to run 1 week from today. As the number of positive COVID-19 tests grows dramatically across the country, so does concern over the second wave of the deadly virus. Many hotspots now slowing down phased reopening or pausing the process altogether. Reporter Jay Gray explains.
With restrictions easing across the country, many, cooped up for months, are now getting out. Shops, restaurants, bars, and beaches crowded, prompting fears of a second wave of COVID-19.
People are getting tired. This is very alarming. So we're very much not flattening the curve. The curve is re-expanding.
More than 20 states have seen a spike in infections, 14 of those jumping more than 25%. Florida today reporting the highest number of new infections since the pandemic began. The line at this Orlando testing center stretches for blocks. Increased testing is likely part of the reason for higher numbers nationwide, but doctors warn it's evidence of a serious and growing problem.
The increased testing is detecting what's already out there, so that there is clearly community spread of the virus, which really just drives home the point that people need to continue practicing these public health measures of the physical distancing, the covering your face, and the hand hygiene.
A number of cities are delaying reopenings. The state of South Carolina has declared a new state of emergency, and in Oregon, a phased reopening has been put on hold.
The virus makes the timelines. We don't make the timelines, and we are all in this together.
Together, though most experts are still stressing the need to remain apart.
Stick around later on Valley News Live at 6. Some ways that you could save money when getting your groceries delivered.
And we were cooler today across the valley, but we do have some warmer weather that will blow back into the region this weekend. Your forecast is next.